I'm Soriano, and I was born to a very simple family. My mom never worked. My dad was an engineer, but since there were 7 of us kids, there wasn't a lot of money to go around. We live in a place called Bawang La Union. So for those of you in the north, so this is somewhere in the north, 5 hours travel from here by bus. And our house was beside a train station. At the age of 7, again, because there wasn't a lot of money to go around, my grandmother was trying to help my parents earn some money. And at the age of 7 years old, I would actually go to the train station and sell ice candy. You guys know what an ice candy is, right? Okay, so it's like, flavored water, put in the freezer, then you sell it for well, during my time, I think I was selling it for 25 centavos. Bawang La Union is located in a place where there are a lot of nice beaches. So ang playground namin was actually the beach. So I think when I was around 8 or 7 years old, I went to the beach. My parents didn't know about it, and before long, I didn't know that I was already far, and I think I drowned. Fortunately, well, I wasn't meant to die young. Fortunately, I got swayed by the waves and found myself on the beach. So I survived it. I went to high school in a school called Sacred Heart. So it's a Catholic school, also in Bawang La Union. It's a nice school. Unfortunately, it wasn't the school that would prepare me for big universities like Mapua Institute of Technology. My dad was an engineer, and I guess because of that, I got inspired. I also wanted to be an engineer. I took the exams, but I know I did not pass because after the exams, my dad would go to school, he went to Mapua, talked to some people, and before I know it, I was in. So I wasn't really meant to be there, but I guess, destiny said I have to be a Mapua graduate. So I struggled all my life throughout college. I didn't really have what it takes to be in a school as Mapua Institute of Technology, especially during my time. During my time, only about 10% of the students were women. And most of my classmates came from Philippine Science, Manila Science High School, Mapua High, LaSalle, and I was just from Sacred Heart School of Bawang La Union. So it was struggle the whole time. But I had to do something about it. I cannot not graduate because, again, we came from a very simple family. When I was in college, there was 3 of us who were in college, my elder sister, my elder brother, and myself. My tuition was actually funded by family and friends, by my aunts and uncles and friends of my mom. So it wasn't, I have to finish my studies no matter what. As expected, after graduation, so I managed, every semester I would always be at the verge of getting kicked out. So for those of you who are familiar with Mapua, during my time, about half of the class would actually fail and be kicked out. So by the time we graduate, yung mga pumasok ng first year, only 10% actually make it to graduation. But somehow I made it, no? So every semester, every summer, I would take classes to make up for the subjects that I failed. And after 5 years, I made it. I took the licensure examinations, but as expected, I failed. I was never become an engineer because unless you pass your board exam, you cannot earn the title of being an engineer. But I graduated, I had to work. I had to help my parents pay for the education of my younger brothers and sisters, so I had to work. During my time, pag-graduate ka ng ECE, pupuntahan namin lahat PLDT. No? But if those who are really, really smart, they go to Eastern and Philcom. But me, sige, average lang ako, I'll go to PLDT. Almost all of us went there and applied. I was rejected. I did not even get past the first stage. The first stage, you submit your application, then normally they called you in for exams. I never even got there. Then, years later, I became a single mom. I had a boyfriend. We had an unplanned pregnancy. His mother specifically wasn't very happy about it. His mother actually didn't like me. The mom thought I was too ambitious. Apparently, the mother was parang, ang pangarap niya sa kanyang anak is to marry a traditional Filipina wife who stays at home, take care of the kids. And I wasn't near there, so I was very aggressive. I was working all the time. So there. So this is during the baptism of my eldest daughter, and the father wasn't there. I was all alone. In fact, when I gave birth, it was my office mate who brought me to the hospital. Sometime 2004, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, stage 2B. So it's not early stage. It's already more or less advanced stage. I'm going to talk about that more. When you look at the things that happened in my life, I should be having an awful life right now. But actually, I have a very fabulous life. I have my family now. Every year, for like a month, we'll go out of the country, we'll live in that country like a local. We experience local things, we experience local food, we drive around as if we are part of the community. This is a photo, this is one of my favorite vacations we've had. This is in New Zealand. It's such a beautiful country. We took a helicopter to go on top of a mountain because my dream was to be standing on top of a snow-capped mountain. So we did that. That was really good. So I would like to connect the dots now. So why were those things happening to me? Because I believe those things happen to a person for a reason. I was born poor, but I was lucky. Because now that I'm an entrepreneur, I can actually say I lived amongst my market. I know how they feel. I know how they think. I know what they need. Therefore, I know how I can sell, right? When I was selling ice candy, I was actually experiencing entrepreneurship. Something that most people learn in school, learn in books, I learned by doing at the age of 7 years old. This is the first time where I experienced being successful. I would go home every time I finish my ice candy. I'd go home and I would have a profit of like 10 pesos per day. It wasn't about the money. It was about the feeling of success. And that feeling that I experienced as a 7-year-old, I carry up to now. When I do when I deal with my business, well, we know the word hugot, di ba? Yung hugot na kinukuha ko actually came from that. I know that it's gonna be hard, but at the end of the day, I know I'm gonna earn 10 pesos, and I know how it feels. I wasn't gonna die young, not by drowning, because I was gonna be a sexy and awesome scuba diver. So I became a scuba diver, and Philippines has got the best scuba diving sites in the world. I've dived in other countries, and sa Batangas pa lang, talong-talo na sila. So scuba diving is what helped me respect nature and actually help in taking care of it. I didn't become an engineer because I didn't pass the board exam, but I had to work. So what happened was, I ended up exploring other paths, and that path is sales and marketing in the telecom industry. It turned out that you actually earn more money if you're in sales and marketing than if you are an engineer. It's so funny. One time I was in a mall, and then I met one of those guys who tried to bully me in college because I wasn't very good. I think that guy was an honor student, and he said, "Oh, Ao, how are you?" I'm fine. I said, "Oh, hey, alam mo, Ao, I'm working for PLDT, and I am the senior supervisor of this department." I said, "Oh, okay, congratulations. Oh, how about you, Ao? Where are you now? What are you doing? Can I have your business card?" I said, "Oh, okay, sure, here's my business card." He looked at it. Globe Telecom, Assistant Vice President. Di ba? And he said, oh, can I have your business card? And I said, oh, that's okay. No, it's okay. I'm in a rush. So we left. Okay. So, I failed my board exam, but I didn't know that that experience was going to lead me to something that is more financially rewarding. And if you look at my classmates during my batch, I think I'll probably be in the top 2% who made it financially well. I was rejected by big companies. I was rejected by PLDT. So what I did was, I ended up working for a small company called RCPI. Most of you would probably won't know RCPI is, but during that time, it was dealing with Telegram. Even nung time na yon, medyo pawala na yung Telegram. But the nice thing about working for small companies is that you get to do actual work. I don't know if you've heard about Jack Ma of Alibaba said, you should actually work. Well, big companies teach you about processes. Small companies will teach you real work. So that's what happened to me. Very early on in RCPI, I became an assistant vice president at the age of 24, the youngest ever in that industry. Kasi konti lang yung choices nila eh. So ilan lang kami. But the nice thing about that is, when I moved to another company, then I moved to Globe Telecom, I had to carry that title. So all of a sudden, I was also an assistant vice president of Globe Telecom. And then after that, I progressed. I became a vice president in Smart Communications. And then in Smart, that's when I discovered Idea Space. It's an incubation program. I won in their competition, and I got funded to start up my company called Pinoy Travel. Single mom. I'm no longer a single mom. The guy eventually became my husband. Yeah. And, okay, what I forgot to mention earlier is that when we were fighting, I actually sued him, and he's a lawyer. Yeah, because what happened was, he didn't want, okay, he acknowledged that the child is his, but he didn't want to sign the birth certificate because once he signed the birth certificate, he's gonna be forever accounted for everything that my daughter would need. So what I did was, I sued him. So when I sued him, that's when he started to softening up. Then we started talking, and then things got better. We got back together and then got married. So I'm now a very happy housewife. I'm a very happy wife because I have a husband who knows what I am capable of. Takot siya. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2004. So I'm now in my 11th year. Steve Jobs was also diagnosed with cancer. And one thing that I remember that he said was that knowing that you will die will actually help you focus on what is important in life. And what is important is family and friends. And leaving a legacy. Do something in this world before you leave it. This is not originally mine. I heard this, I gathered this from the internet. Who am I? I am an entrepreneur. What do? I do something that will help the public transportation. Who do I do it for? The politically correct answer there is, I'm doing it for my country, I'm doing it for the industry, I'm doing it for blah, blah, blah. But the truth is, I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for my nephews and nieces. Unfortunately, some of my brothers, they're not really well off, so I sent his kids to school. In the same manner that my aunts and uncles sent me to school, I am sending these children also to school. And the reason I'm doing that is that I wanted to show them what is possible. I want them to feel their responsibility to other people, not only to people related to them. Somebody did this for me, I'm doing it for them, and I expect them to do that for the next generation. Imagine if every person in this earth has that sense of responsibility, that we are responsible for the next generation. Thank you.